sure. Go in front. Bam. All right. Okay, Lord Jesus, thank you for bringing us together to do something in your name, to bring the focus on you in these lives that are very short. We go through trying to collect ourselves and give ourselves to you. So we're doing that in this moment. So guide our words, our focus, and let us be encouraging to those who hear this and try and find ourselves in this new environment as we glorify you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Amen.
My name is Joe Creation. My name is John Creation.
And my name is Mike Mulvaney.
Nice. We're the Iron Disciples. This is the Iron Disciples podcast, and this is our very first podcast, more of a trial run to see how this equipment works. This is my studio that I work in daily. I do my music here and my work and my business here, so we're kind of scrunched in here for now and surrounded by metal amps. Yes, so for those of you that love to play guitar and everything, as you can tell, this room is made for that. So lots of metal has been melted in here. So I got lights from our buddy Phil. Thank you, Phil. And we're just gonna kind of talk about what's on our minds today, since we spitballing and sort of brainstorming about how this shall run. So first off, start off with the prayer introduction. How you guys doing? And for me right now, John and I are on starting a 3-day fast today.
Yes. Water only, huh?
Water only.
Yeah.
That's the way it's been.
Tough.
We did our first one, not our first one, but of this year. I think it was no, it wasn't even. We did it the end of November, then we did it the beginning of January, and now we're doing it again. So
That's
almost month by month, 3 days.
Yeah.
It's been good. Yeah, it's really been a lot of, because like, I don't know if I remember this guy I met. I was working at the rural village of Kotzebue, Alaska. He's an older guy, and they flew him in to put in carpet for these sixplexes we were building out. So they had like no floor, putting in all the cabinets, all the subfloor, everything. And so we're finally getting finished up, and this guy flies in. He's like this little wiry, like elf-looking guy. He's like red hair and everything. Looks like, I don't know how this guy's gonna do what he's doing, but he ends up being super strong. He can like lift up a whole roll of carpet, something I could not do. And he's jamming his fingers, like in order to lay the carpet down smooth and flat, you have to like punch it into the corners. And frequently guys will use these metal tools to do that, because punching carpet like raw with your hands is obviously a really bad idea.
Better build those calluses.
Right, but he'd do it, and like his fingers would be like bleeding at the end of the day. I'd be looking at him like he's nuts. And he's like, no, your body learns how to heal. You know, I'll be fine in like a few days. And I was just looking at him like, all right, he's definitely crazy. And after a few days, his hands were fine. And so the way I'm tying this back to the fasting is it takes a while for your body to learn how to fast, especially coming out of a world where you're eating, 3 or 4 or 5 meals a day.
Bodybuilder diets.
Yeah, oh my God. You don't get much of a break from it. So now that we've done a couple of these, it feels a lot better. Your body sort of is set up and oriented, so it's like knows what's coming. So there's less of that anxiety and chaos in your body of missing a meal. It's like it's met, it's comfortable, it knows what to expect. So it's a lot more comfortable now. The first few were like you get these weird pains. And a lot of people who are like veteran fasting, they know this. So like you get chronic maladies that you have, right? Your body's not able to fix them because they're ongoing. It's like a waiter, he's got like 10 tables. It's like one table wants water and it wants a meal and it wants a napkin. It's like, well, I can only give it a water right now. When I get back to it, and got to take care of all these other tables. Your body handles chronic malady like that, so certain things don't get collected and really fixed. And you'll notice when you're on a fast, your body's finally got that chance. It's like, all right, table 1's getting everything now, and you'll get some pain associated with it too. So that can make it uncomfortable. But if you know it's happening, it's like, good, I'm fixing these these issues are getting fixed.
Yeah, I used to intermittent fast a lot when I was cutting weight, and then I would throw in like a 36-hour, 48-hour fast.
Nice.
And yeah, my body was pretty used to it, so it wasn't that bad. And I just knew how it went. It's like I know my hunger is going to be an upward trajectory until about hour 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I just view it kind of like just as like a wave. Like I'll usually wake up the next morning not even hungry, and it's not even hard to continue from that point. But it's definitely it's a good battle of self-control.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what the added benefit, when God gives you a gift, it's like the best gift. It's like way better than you actually think it's going to be. So you get all these health benefits, which are great.
Mm-hmm.
But then for fasting, we're trying to see what those undiscovered things are. Like we're fasting for this podcast so that we can align ourselves with God's will and hear his voice a little better. And that is that added bonus point. Who knows what else is there? It takes doing it. Unfortunately, I mean, the Bible says a lot of stuff about how it opens doors, like Daniel, when he was on his fast. I believe it was the angel Michael that was like, well, you fasted. Thanks for doing this because it helped me get through to you. So it has impact in the spiritual domain as well, like the spiritual warfare that is carrying out day by day. It helps them, helps our side, really. So, and we're learning about it, trying to figure out what that is. So it takes doing it. And being open to it and keeping notes about it and all those, as it begins to reveal the purpose and the other hidden gems of fasting. So,
that is just a good exercise of self-control.
That's right.
Most people can't pull that off. Like, I did the 72-hour one once, and
nice.
It's just like I like pushing myself with self-control. Like I did the hard 75 challenge, and that was the ultimate.
Oh, you did that too?
That was the ultimate self-control.
Jackie and Brooke. I have a fiance. My wife has sisters, many sisters, and they both did it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Jackie's done it twice. 75 hours.
Days. 75 days of
days.
It's
of what?
Andy Frisella. He's a podcast guy too. He came up with it for himself because he had to like meet a deadline on like getting himself in shape. I can't remember the story behind it, but it's a savage challenge. He views it's a mental toughness challenge in the end.
What do you do for it?
So it's basically 75 days, I would say, of perfection. And there's like 5 things involved. You have to do 2 workouts a day for 45 minutes. One has to be outside, and that's really to push you. Like some days it's going to be raining. You still got to go outside and get the workout done. Like you got to push through the bad conditions essentially. So that, and then inconveniences, like you might have like, it's Christmas Day or whatever. Like you guess what? You got to go figure out how to get your workout in still.
Yeah.
And then if you miss any aspect of the days, you start over at day 1.
Oh boy.
So the second piece, you have to drink a gallon of water every day. Third one is you have to read, I think it's either 10 minutes or 10 pages of like a productive book.
Wow.
The other piece was you have to pick a diet that's productive to what you're doing, and then there's no cheating from it. No like one cookie the whole 75 days, like
strict.
And then you were supposed to take like you were supposed to take a progress pic every day too, kind of like a mirror selfie for yourself, because he knows like your body's going to change through this process. And then what's funny is when you read people's stories of doing it, sometimes what failed them is like they realized the next morning, I went to sleep and I forgot to take the photo. Now I have to start over at day 1.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like stuff like that. People, because they hold themselves accountable to it. Like,
dang, never
there's
ending.
no sense to cheat. And there's all these people that then like make their own version of it and think they're still doing it. And he just gets so mad at that because he figures like, yeah, you put, cherry picked what you liked out of it, made your own challenge, because you can't actually do the real one.
Right. People like to do that.
Yeah, they're always
even in religion. Like you got the Bible and they pick out little parts that they like, and then they
stop pretending you're doing it. Like I was doing push-ups in the airport once for 45 minutes. Yeah, I knew I wasn't gonna get home. I had no chance to work out when I get home, and yeah, like
Did you finish the 75 days?
Nice. I did. It was.
So were you reading, or did you? What was the 75 hard that you did?
Yeah, I did the one he made. Like
Okay.
so
that
yeah, I did
includes
all of those
reading and
aspects.
everything.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Gallon,
Yeah.
reading.
The gallon
training.
was probably the worst part for me. Like that is so much water to drink through the day.
Yeah.
Because it has to be pure water. So like
You're
if I drink
pissing a lot.
a protein shake or if I drink pre-workout, like that doesn't count.
What?
You have to. It's got to be straight water.
That's
So
pretty
I didn't really
wild.
like change up my
Did you
normal
notice
drinking
anything
patterns.
that changed from like the water habit in particular? Because I've heard like you could drink too much. Like some people don't need all that much water.
Well, I think the too much ends up being around like 2-3 gallons.
Jeez,
I didn't
I'd
really
like to do that,
notice.
Lord God.
Like to see blood work.
Yeah.
The one thing I
washed all your
noticed was the
minerals
weight
Kidneys
fluctuations.
working.
Like
overtime.
I would fluctuate like 5 pounds in weight from morning to night because I think your body
Yeah.
just gets so used to running
Well, I
this
do that
water through the
normally.
system. 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
yeah.
more. Like
Um,
8 pounds.
Yeah.
I was doing a carnivore diet, so I set the diet up for myself. I had to stick to carnivore for 40 days, and then I could switch to keto the last 35. And so the 40 days of carnivore, I could not I was losing weight like crazy, and I got down to like 165 pounds.
Whoa.
When did you
um,
do that? It's lean.
March. It was like I finished like right before the pandemic started.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
165 or Mike.
How much do you weigh now?
guy.
Like,
Like 190,
wow.
Yeah.
How much did you weigh when you started it?
probably like mid 170s,
Oh, okay.
172 or something.
That's not
um,
about 10 pounds.
So I was just trying my best to like eat enough to not lose. I didn't really ever want to be below 170.
Mm.
But yeah,
Whenever
if
I-
anyone wants to try something, the hardest thing they're ever gonna do, that's probably one of them.
That sounds gnarly.
Yeah.
It's more so the perfection aspect, because most people, you could do 80% of it easily. It's just like you can't fail once,
Mm-hmm.
and for 75 days, that's a long time.
But the
Consistency.
consistency, yeah. I feel like people make up if they get too. The strongest people don't accept the most.
Yeah, well, and
watertight excuses.
the worst part is like the people around you don't accept. They think it's absurd. Like everyone I talk to thinks it's absurd. So then they want you like come to eat pizza with us. It's like no,
Temptation.
I can't just take one day. Like they don't understand that you can't take one day off for this.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're not doing it.
That's
why they're
exactly.
eating
So when you
pizza.
were done, did you go eat some pizza?
Oh yeah, oh
Heck
yeah.
yeah. What's your?
That was one of the like finishing that. That's like top, thing to accomplish in my mind.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't ever really want to try it again. And there's multiple phases after that if you want to do it. There's like a year-long
Oh my
hard
gosh.
75 program.
My gosh.
It's like David Goggins does that.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
I'll do that one.
If you want to dedicate a year to that, you are something else.
God bless you.
Yeah.
God bless
Yeah,
you.
no kidding. 2 workouts.
The second
Different
the
times.
second phases involve it's only 30 days and you're supposed to take like a couple months off. But they like involve more stuff. Like you have to take like an ice cold shower every day.
Oh
Mm.
boy.
Add in these other items that make it even harder.
I wish we had like a good cold plunge here in
That would be
Sarasota.
sick.
I know.
Yeah, and we lived in California. There was a place in Carmel. It was right down from Santa Cruz, and it was called Refuge.
The place was amazing.
And yeah, it was. We went there like once a month. So they had this beautiful area in between these mountains. It's like this little valley, and they had all these stone like hot tubs and cold pools from like medium heat to like high heat and cold to like tepid water. And there was like 3 temperatures of each of these pools, and then they had of hot and cold, and then they had a sauna steam room, and you would do these cycles. You ever heard Joe Rogan talks about it? So you get hot, really, really hot, and then you could do that in the steam room, or you could do it in the sauna, or you could go into the jacuzzi, and you could pick your poison of how to sweat your nuts off and become totally disgusted with heat until you go and you drop into. John and I would go into the coldest pool, which is probably like 34 degrees or
So
something. It was
cold.
just above freezing. Like you dip your toe in there, and your
Feel it.
dick is like going the opposite direction into your body.
Oh yeah.
And we would go in there and hold our breath for like while we were in the cold pool. Like so we'd
Oh
and
yeah.
hold
I
our
forgot
breath.
We used to do that.
Put your face in, so your face was getting cold too, because your face is full of blood vessels. So if you really want to get cold fast, you have to put your your hands and your face in the
Mhm.
water. Otherwise, you're not gonna get cold as fast as you could. And we would hold the breath, and then it was literally like an out of body experience
Just
when you come out of
intense.
there.
Yeah.
It was so, it felt so euphoric.
Mhm.
Like you couldn't. I felt like my whole body was like vibrating,
Mhm.
and
That's my experience
It
with
was-
cryotherapy.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, really? So you kind of know. But I mean, did it feel really good?
Oh yeah. Afterwards, you just feel like kind of like a new person. Like,
Yeah, I felt like $1 billion. Like I don't know how to explain.
But it was like a rush though, because like when you're under the water in your face, and
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling the cold.
Yeah.
And I'd say like, because we would try and stay around 5 minutes in there, and so you come up for your first breath of air, and you're kind of like, all right, this is painful. This is painful, and then it's like you reach another threshold, and your body, you can actually feel the dopamine, the serotonin. Like it's just a massive rush. It's like a powerful drug. It's like
Mhm.
For
it's
sure,
like
dude.
hitting like ecstasy or something for like a good solid 10 minutes. When you come up out of it, it diminishes pretty well. And the weird thing is it doesn't happen the rest of the day.
It
As
kind of
intense.
diminishes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it won't
Like
happen
The next time it's
so-
less.
Yeah, the next
It's
time it's
less.
you got to be more
next
focused.
thing you,
more
next
discipline.
you have to, you're at,
At
like,
the end of the day, you
hypothermic
don't
levels.
feel it. At the end of the day, you're just kind of like
The
blown
drudgery.
out. Yeah, yeah.
And then you're
Yeah.
exhausted. You feel like you trained like 3-4 hours back to back with no food,
Mhm.
and they're just depleted. Like it's
But
one of
it's
the
such a good
heaviest,
feeling, though.
most
Yeah.
sedated feelings I've ever felt in my
Ever.
life.
I've
And
been
if you're
thinking
crazy like us, you'll do like 10 cycles of that.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's like 11 at night, and you're like
Let's
stumbling
go
out
again.
of place. Yeah, dude, and you just eat a nice burger or something.
We should
Oh, yeah.
set up one of those
Let's
tanks. I've been thinking
make
about
shit.
it because the cryotherapy I don't think is nearly as painful, even though the temperature is so cold. Like I was doing at the place in town, they're cryo on the coldest setting possible, and they'd leave me in an extra 30 seconds, and it's like it hits like minus 230 in
It's
there,
crazy.
and you're completely encased in that chamber.
Wild.
But I think still
What's the duration there usually?
3 minutes is the max. And then I think that's mainly a frostbite issue because
Are
I could
they
see.
circulating
sure.
the air in there, or is it all stagnant air?
I think it's circulating because I think it's blowing in. It's blowing in cold air as you're going.
Okay.
Because it has
That
to keep
changes the game, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
because
if you
it'll
take
get
a hot
colder
bath-
as you go.
Yeah, if you take a hot bath and you don't move, like that water around your body will cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so as soon as you start rushing the water around, it'll start to get hot again. Same thing
Oh,
with
yeah.
cool. Like if you just stay still
Mm-hmm.
in a room, like the heat around your body, if
Right.
there's not, it's like a convection oven.
Yeah, I think the water is definitely the best way to go.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much insulation within the air.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like if you're submerged, that is like all the
It's way more
surface area
painful.
is that temperature, and it's just going right into you. So I don't think I think it's definitely gonna get you colder faster.
Yeah.
To go
Which
in
seems
water.
bizarre because that air is minus 230. I'm surprised you can
Right.
even breathe it. It's amazing your body.
It
can
can't
handle
be very
breathing.
moist, that air.
I know, it's dry.
There's
It's
zero.
gotta be dry. Yeah,
because any
'cause-
moisture would immediately freeze.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And so yeah, it's super dry. I noticed a few spots like the backside of my ankles would like get near. It's cold. It's cold.
like cold exfoliation.
Yeah.
Dead skin
There's
just
a few-
falls
there's a
off.
few-
Frostbite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sure
like,
that's
ah,
why the
shit.
time is limited because you could probably stick out longer than you wouldn't even realize you're probably getting frostbite.
Mm.
Is my guess.
That's a cool thing, though. No pun intended. Yeah. It would be cool to see something like that happen in Sarasota.
It would be.
Uh,
I would love that.
There's only one of those places in California. That
It was
I
in
know of.
Carmel.
It was in Carmel. And for anyone who doesn't know, Carmel is like one of the most uppity, richy.
Mhm.
Beautiful
Yeah.
places on earth. Yeah.
So it was always packed. You know,
Yeah.
people being old people, lots of Russian people.
Those-
We do have a what do they call it? A warm mineral springs.
Yeah,
Have you ever been to that
I
one?
haven't.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
cool. We used to go all the time. Yeah.
They're selling those tanks for home now too, like special cold plunge tanks that you plug
Oh,
in
yeah.
and stuff.
Oh yeah.
$5
You
grand.
can
I
make
think.
them too.
They're
like-
refrigerators, dude.
Yeah,
It's not
freezer.
even like I don't know
That's
why.
some good ID or DIY on YouTube
Yeah.
where you just make a
chest
pretty nice.
freezer. A
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
the guys who do the Wim Hof and they take it to the umpteenth level. They get the big chest freezers
Yeah.
where you can put like a deer carcass in there, and they just have that thing on during the night only, so they're not like wasting on their electricity bill. They wake up.
You don't
in
want
the
to
morning.
freeze.
You don't
either.
want it to freeze.
They
yeah.
put it on a temperature. They get
Yep.
the thermometer, and then it runs and it cycles. And some of the guys put filters on there, and I mean,
Oh wow.
everything. Yeah.
Most of the
Yeah,
guys.
the guys put like wood on the side. I mean, it looks legit. And
You
like,
know-
that stuff looks good.
Yeah, I looked up when
really
we were
good.
gonna buy that or trying to buy that place off of Trinidad. They had this house. It was a nice house. It's like a 2-story house. It had like a basically the mother-in-law suite was connected, but it was 2 stories. So my brother and I wanted to pick this place up, and they were building a bathroom, but it was like really a big bathroom. I was like, man, you could possibly put a sauna or some cool shit. So I started looking things up. They make these little water coolers. They're probably around $700-800. They're not bad at all. And you hook that up to like a tub, and they'll circulate really cold water. I looked up the stats. It's like 5 or 6 minutes to get it halfway cool, like probably around 20 minutes to get it nice and cold. But they eat up a lot of electricity though.
Yeah,
But it's
so
still
go to the gas station and buy 2 10-gallon bags of
That's
ice.
Of ice.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep,
you get it
that's-
cold enough and then just use some ice, like
Yeah.
$5 of ice.
Bam.
That's the poor way, dude. It's the poor
Painful.
man way right there. It gets
But
it
then
done.
you don't
though.
get to cycle as much. Like, you know, you don't
Yeah.
get the opportunity. You get in there and then what, you know?
Well, that's where I think probably the benefits too is doing it regularly. Because I was doing cryotherapy once a week, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I think you got to do it regularly to
think so,
truly.
too.
Because that's like with the sauna. I go sauna 5 days a week.
You
and-
get acclimated to it.
Yeah, and I think that's where the benefits really start to show up when it's a regular thing.
Just like the hard 75, you got to do it consistently.
You want those
Yep.
results.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. Then though, like that's a habit. Like I kind of missed the routine of the hard 75.
Sure.
It was a productive habit, really. in the end.
Yeah.
I think for people that aren't used to being able to drive themselves, they need the carrot dangle. You know, they need that kind of they need a medal. They need something to look forward to, an ending
Competition.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
They need a cadence to the activity.
Mhm.
And for some others, I don't need that. Like I'm a person that I enjoy finding. I think that what those things can help people do is find out a healthy schedule for themselves.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's like, look, get real with the shit you like to do.
And then learn, like, you don't
Yeah.
have to, just because someone wants to go get pizza one day doesn't mean that your whole workout's destroyed, because you can work out and it just shows you, like, you can stay regimented.
Liberties you have.
You
Yeah.
can stick
and
to
do-
something
and-
80%.
and do push-ups at the airport if you
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like
Yeah.
get it done in different ways.
Yeah,
It's
pick
not
up the
perfect.
slack if you
Yeah,
have some.
totally.
Yeah, and I think for people that don't have things that they really enjoy doing in life, like hobbies, like there's a lot of people out there and they don't have something that they can go and do for like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. That for them is watching TV or zonking out doing something. So it's really interesting to have a book that I have to read and then all this other stuff that they have to do. And I mean, if you can find out those things you really want and develop your own schedule, that's the goal.
It's freedom.
That's the goal that I think everybody should be interested in. It's like, how can I make this version of me the best I can? You know, like reading books. Okay, do I like doing that? Maybe not as much, but I have to read books to get to this point. You know, if there's an area of knowledge I need to know about, I have to read books to do that. And people can connect the dots and be like, okay, even though I hate reading, I'm still going to be able to do this. And there's the payoff. So they start dangling their own carrots and making their own life. Because that's a sad thing. Like, I'll see people do really like strict diets, and it's cool because they get the payoff. They do finish it, but then they kind of feel vacant
yo-yo.
at the end of it. Yeah, they're like, well, what's next? You know, and it's like, well, what's next is you got to get your shit together. That's what's next.
Yeah.
You
Well,
have to figure yourself
You
out.
can't have any changes you make like that. You can't go into the mindset that this is temporary. It has to be a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
That's why like the dangling carrot thing's just not going to work for
No.
it's just not going to hold people long term on that. It's like you got to want it for yourself.
Mhm.
Especially if you're doing something crazy like the hard
100%.
75. There is no carrot at the end of that. It's literally you're
Well,
just
the
doing
carrot
that.
is you
Yeah,
said you completed
yeah,
the hard 75.
Yeah, there's literally that's all you get to say is I
Well,
did
people
that.
talk about it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like,
But most people don't freaking care that you did it. So you're literally doing
Yeah.
that challenge for yourself, and that's special kind
true.
of.
True. I mean, granted, the
Special
people who
kinda
are willing to do that in the
weirdo.
first place are looking for something.
Yeah.
You know, so good
I
on
like
them.
those kind of weirdos.
Yeah.
Need more of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, I think, God, I remember somebody was talking about like how short our time is here. And it wasn't just like how short your life is, but it's like how short, like when your brain connects, having all this stuff. And it is amazing, man. It's like, unless you put the the plow into the ground and really decide on what you're going to grow after you till the ground and like really plan shit out, you're never going to get anywhere, you know. And people do like talking about stuff. So if they're talking about their hard 75 or their own personal goals, you know, it makes it so that they have something to do rather than just kind of waste away, you know. And that's where you see a lot of kids, they're defining themselves in their early age. You know, they're trying to, that's why I think a lot of young men these days are working out, because it's something they've always had, their body. You know, it's like, you've always had your body. Now it's finally kind of turning into a man. They're like, this is something I have control of. Let's try and make this the best it can be. And that's like the most cool thing you can do to begin with, to remember, so that it's like, once you got your body and your health, it's like, what next, you know? You develop your mind, your soul. You start to become a complete person as those little domains become more and more your own. I was talking to this young kid at Gordon's Food Market, that, you know, that young dude. I saw him. We were picking up some pork butt. We were making some Cuban sandwiches on the weekend. Came out amazing. So good. Put way too much pork on there, though. And he's like trying to work out. He's 18 years old. You know, he's small. He reminded me of us when we were younger, because he was thin, and he has to eat a bunch of, you know, bread, a bunch of carbs, taking like 9 shits a day. And I'm like, that's the way to do it, man. You got to do it if you want to get there, you know. And I just saw that light, that feeling like he could control something in his life, and he's seeing changes. And that's the fuel in the fuel
is
tank.
A great feeling.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The progress gets addicting. For me, it's snowballed like on itself.
Now it sucks though. Now that you're an advanced lifter, it's like,
Yeah.
what do I get now?
Yeah.
1 pound a year.
Yeah, if you're lucky. 1 hard-earned pound
A year. If you're
all
lucky.
those newbie gains.
Natural testicles. No exogenous hormones
None.
going on here.
None.
Could implant another testicle, but I'd
That
probably
would be-
downregulate
Like,
my
what
uptake.
animal would you take the testicle from, though?
Probably like a silverback gorilla or blue whale.
They have the biggest testicles. Did you know that?
Maybe a
So-
shrew testicle.
so
I'll go
the
for
ratio-
like 50
Oh
shrew
my
testicles.
god! That you like combine them into
Yeah,
one massive shrew testicle.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
I hear those things are
Those things run
pretty
high.
rowdy.
Yeah, dude. You'd probably be like, dude. So I heard this. I forgot where, but like primates, if their testicles are huge, they got short dicks.
Yeah, because
you
they gotta
got-
push.
Yeah, because they gotta put the testicle is responsible for creating the pressure to push the
because
semen out
the
the
dick
dick.
head's not far enough in the
Yeah.
vagina, so you don't have a long dick. You just gotta have a lot of pressure to blast your
Exactly.
semen in there.
I was blown away by that. I was like, that actually makes sense, man. No wonder. I was like, that makes so much sense.
See, I'll take those without the dick shortening.
That's what I was saying. I was like, but that was where I was going with it. So if you get another gorilla testicle, I'd take a pair, right? It's like, would my dick shrink?
I don't think it
This-
would. I think it's done
This
growing.
makes me think of a meme. I
Can't
saw-
like ungrow.
I
That
saw
would,
yes-
yeah, okay, because that would be shit.
Yeah, I think you just have like an extra powerful set of nuts, and your
Be like-
dick would remain the same size.
That's the only way I would do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This makes
It's
me
harder to
genetic.
walk.
Because like if you genetically have big testicles to begin with, then you're gonna have genetic predisposition to having smaller dick.
Right.
So that's your genes.
if
Inserting
you
those,
did get
inserting those
you-
silverback nuts aren't
Right.
gonna change your genes.
But from a outsider's look, because of the size of the testicles that you now have, your dick would look smaller.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you have to like just implant them internally or
Or
something.
you could probably put them like,
So you don't freak out your
what would be the
girlfriend.
safest place to put them? I don't know.
I think this meme I saw yesterday, it
Next
said,
to your
if you ever
prostate.
want to kill an hour with a guy, just ask him what animal he thinks he could take in a fight. And I think we could change that right now is ask a guy what animal would he want a testicle from.
Yeah, totally.
We'll sit and talk about
Great
it for an
white
hour.
sharks.
I was thinking Wolverines. They actually have
Wolverines.
some of the highest testosterone. You can, our dad,
Those things
he's
stink.
Alaskan, right? Yeah, he said you could smell them from miles away. And I was like,
Gross.
what? He's like, yes. And there it's like their defense mechanism. So other animals know there's one little nasty Wolverine around here. And it's because their testosterone is ridiculously high. And they routinely face off with bears to try and get a carcass because they're both scavengers.
Yeah.
So like there'll be a bear over there gnawing on
No
it.
one wants to fuck with Wolverine.
Yeah, they'll smell the Wolverine coming.
It's
It's
like-
be like, you know what, he's
That
coming.
guy stinks.
Stinks. Let's get out of here.
Worse than the skunk. The Wolverine
Yeah.
shows up.
Hate,
Dude,
hate
for
for him to
real.
bite you, dude.
Stinks. So I'm gonna, I think a silverback would be all those things look jacked and they're pretty strong. But
They
then,
do.
They're also shrews, like I had
Shrews.
said.
Shrews.
Those things are insane. So
Dude, there's a video of a shrew fighting another shrew, and they
Gets
slow this shit down. Dude, I want to cue that thing. up,
we
man.
should do it next time. I'll see.
Oh
the,
my
the
God.
point, these things go to they slow down like a 10-second battle.
It's the
It's
best
like
shit ever.
literally like a 3-hour battle or something. Like, the guys are, and they like biting each other's nutsack.
Yeah,
Oh
dude,
my
like
goodness.
the most
Punching each other.
gnarly fighting
The worst,
technique you've ever seen.
dude. The Geneva
There are
Convention
no
needs to get in
rules.
on
No,
that.
dude.
No rules whatsoever.
Straight up medieval,
Just
crazy.
stabbing each other's eyes.
Yeah,
We watched it like probably 8 times.
you cannot see it in real life. Like once the normal speed,
just
it's
way
just
too
it's just
fast.
Yeah.
it's like a tornado.
Yeah.
You slow it down, you're like, oh my god.
It's insane. Like they're actually very accurate animals, and they're
Yeah.
seeing life in that
And fast
that
forward.
fast. Yeah,
I
dude.
forget. They
Oh
went.
my
Dude,
god.
their heartbeats are like 100 like 1,000 BPM.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Little.
Things just
Yep.
ripping.
Yep.
That's wild.
I would take.
So that was 30 minutes, by the way, guys.
hey, that went by.
Didn't go
fast.
too bad. I think that we
5:19.
found our stride like probably at like the 15-20 minute mark. We started feeling more comfortable and things started to kind of happen more naturally. And
I don't see the camera saying that the battery's got problems yet, so that's good.
All right.
Does it
sweet.
show like
I would assume that it
battery?
would show a battery
No.
warning because it's showing all the other stuff. Like
it doesn't
we're
show
recording.
like that little bar of the battery?
I think
or
it does
nothing?
if once we stop or on
Okay.
another screen probably.
Yeah, it should. So like that would be you could add on 10 minutes probably from how it was because it
it's
was
been
on. It
yeah,
wasn't
it says
recording.
41 minutes right now.
There you go. So yeah, about 10 minutes. So yeah, I think this is pretty
Pretty
cool.
sweet.
And I had an idea for like an introduction. So like kind of like we did like we are Iron Disciples intro. We are the Iron Disciples. In this podcast, we talk about fitness, dating, finance, and other things, exploring these topics from a biblical standpoint, how to do these things as Christian men. I don't know. That's just kind of what I had. I'll send it you out in a group. We can kind of like work on it, but just
Sure.
something we can say
Uh-huh.
to kind of get people primed for what we talk about, because I know there's going to be a lot of like shrew testicles and stuff like that happening. It's
Yeah.
just- that's going to be something that's
Well, This is
interesting to
boy
me
talk right
anyways.
here, yeah.
But I think
A little bit of guy locker room talk probably.
there should be. Yeah.
I
That's
can't
fine.
not be on this part of who I am.
I won't.
so.
Yeah, I won't.
yeah.
I won't either. So, and then I think it'd be cool if we had like just a broad, whoever presents like just a couple bullets of like what we want to talk about.
Mhm.
Yeah, we could just bring
Proud of-
something different each time. Maybe each one of us
Yeah.
brings the topics the
Well,
other times.
You know, I was also thinking like low points where we're gonna have to get good at understanding each other. Like if there's a point where we're not heading down a direction, like when I see what we talked about the hard 75. That went from talking about our own disciplinary, then it went to like what is
Cold
the world
plunge.
to, yeah. So we kind of jived on that for a while. When you reach a point where things aren't really connecting, we could kind of look for topics, because Joe Rogan, I feel like a lot of why people enjoy his stuff
Because it's
is because it's natural, right?
yeah.
And no one's looking for, it's just not an academic.
No,
like,
all I meant simply was just like a topic, and
Sure.
then maybe like 2 or 3. If there's any type of bulleting that you want for yourself, is like to remember, so that you have something to go off of during the podcast.
Yeah.
And
And
So you
it's-
can look at your phone and be like, it's one of those low points, and then be like, oh,
that's right.
you
Yeah.
know, true testicles, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking it'd be cool, like, so when I look at my stuff,
And the advantage with Rogan is just when you can
He has
talk
such smart
open-
people there, and he has some questions.
Right,
and
and
you just
I wonder,
listen.
it'd be interesting to see how much he prepares, like with bulleted questions. I kind of doubt it's just like, let's just see where this conversation goes, because when you have kind of unlimited time, you don't have to like, oh, we got to get back on track with the conversation. No, you can just kind of go
Yeah.
with the flow.
And Joe does read, or like he does a lot of the audiobooks, like if it's an author.
Yeah, he'll read their book.
he
at
does
least.
do all that stuff, but I don't think like Joe like goes and writes like a
Yeah.
bunch of questions. I think he's much more like he
Mhm.
he wants to be in the room with the person. I think that's what he really wants to do.
yeah. And, I think, like, there's
Hanging
different categories of podcasts. Like, to be honest with you, people want to hear people hanging out. Usually that's what I feel like.
It's
they
like the
most.
morning radio.
Right. When I listen to like
Hanging
Andrew
out.
Huberman, which is more like a guy giving a lecture almost, you know, you're absorbing stuff, but it's not like exciting you that much.
I feel like you have a your time limit on listening to like talk.
Yeah,
like
you
someone
get
talking
fatigued,
at the
bro.
camera
You're
is
just
much
like,
less.
Yeah, and there's no back and forth, so you're not refreshed by a different person saying something
Yeah,
different.
I'm kind
yeah.
of freaked out by people that can
Yeah.
sit and talk at the camp to no one for like a couple hours.
I think
like,
about
he's a
that
fucking
a lot.
lecturer.
I look
dude.
at
like Ben
Andrew, I'm like,
Shapiro or something, or those
Yeah,
talk show people that literally
Jordan.
just talking at nothing.
Jordan.
Jordan
Yeah.
can sit there and talk like 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
I probably need no one. He doesn't
Yeah.
need anyone to ask him questions.
just
He
blows my
asks
mind.
himself the
does.
questions and he answers them, and he's like, "These
Because he's
people
so
suck."
like scrupulous. He's like, okay, well you know you're
Most
right,
people
dude.
don't ask him questions. He revamps their question and tells them what they actually want to ask him,
It's
and
like,
then
now here's
answers
what you're
that
really
question.
trying to say. Yeah, oh my
That's what he
God.
did. Yeah.
But
That's
that's
where-
where I think that what if I'm being honest with us, you know, none of us are Andrew Hubermans or
Mhm.
Jordan Petersons. You know, we have varied backgrounds. We like different stuff, but we're also children of a certain time, a generation. And so we're connecting with our generation as friends should. And what is the main issue we have these days is lack of community.
Mhm.
I mean, mental health issues because people don't know how to express themselves, be connected. So we're being their surrogate families, their surrogate brothers, their surrogate, you know, hangout zone. So they
Yeah,
need to
and
feel that.
I agree.
You know, like that's what
100%.
people love in movies when that organic
Mhm.
locker room stuff or whatever it is happens and it looks earnest and sincere. That draws people in. You know, ultimately, people want family. They
I
want
agree.
connection.
And if we get to the point where we can do live streams, that'll be huge too. Because then like if anyone's listening, they can like
Questions.
participate.
yeah, then
ask
we'd have to have the
questions.
laptop.
That'd be
not
great.
ask questions.
That'd be super cool.
I had this.
That
So
would
like,
make it so much fun to hear what people want to
I had
hear
masked.
people's questions.
I had a couple, and these might not work for us, but they were just ideas that may have been fresh. So I had Masked and Unabashed as like a series we could do where we put people on of the faith. It doesn't really matter.
We had talked about this with the girls. It's called
Masked and Unabashed is what I
think it
call
was
it.
Masked and this.
Do you have it? I have it as Masked and Unabashed. So really what we're doing is we're covering the people's identity. You don't get to know their names. Or
Oh yeah,
whatever.
Christian Girls Anonymous Masks. That's what I had. But yeah,
Sure, and that's why I have Masked and Unabashed because it's not just for Christian girls. It could
Yeah.
be it could be pastors. Like let's talk about the issues that you can't talk about without, you know, these are that's why we have a mask on, right?
Right.
So I thought that was cool, and then I thought about Deep Calls Out to Deep, something Joe and I were talking a lot about in the last few weeks, and that's like hearing some pretty intense testimony from people we may know that have been
Mhm.
walking in the Lord for a while, and hearing their experiences, like a testimony segment almost. You know, like hey,
I think that makes sense for sure.
because I know that's the cool part is I know we all know some strong Christian people that have seen God move, and
Mhm.
they can be some good storytellers to come
Just
on.
Shannon, dude. He's
Yeah,
great.
like
Yep.
Shannon. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
So those are two themes.
Cool.
coming.
But I know,
keep the
like
notes
it was,
coming.
I was asking one of the girls I connected with from that conference that I didn't go to. She has this like singles page thing that she runs, and I was like, I'm gonna just ask her. I asked her basically, what are you and then these people, the girls you're dealing with, finding, or like if you had to ask a question to, you know, the average Christian guy, like what would it be in regards to dating, or what are your complaints of how Christian men are handling things? And she actually had a really great response. And like, there's some commonalities of problems, and I think it would be interesting to have them talk about it. I
It's a great idea.
also got some different, like, I've just seen a commonality of some of the issues that is definitely worth a podcast discussion too.
That's big.
Is
Yeah.
that like the guys and the girls kind of getting together? Like we're both on the same boat with what we got to deal with, trying to find a mate in this world.
Well, it's that way, and then like I think like the men of the church are so passive and feminine, maybe is the term now.
Yes, 'cause
there's
we've lost our
masculinity.
masculinity.
There's masculinity missing
Too
in the
many
church.
chickens running the church.
And I actually brought that up
So
to
true,
her
man.
as like one of the reasons why, because she was complaining like guys aren't bold, they don't ask us out, a lot of those types of complaints, and I explained my thoughts on it.
She's
And
talking
she
about it in the church, right?
church
Yeah,
specifically church Christian men.
Yeah.
And then I explained kind of my thought on that, like I think the church men are just becoming so
maybe
feminine.
you're just ugly, girl. They're asking all the other ones out, but you. No.
It could be.
I mean,
But,
here's the
she-
question that I
she's
would
like,
ask her is,
try
how does
hitting
she
the
know
gym.
that they're not asking her out?
It's
like,
not
And
her.
that-
This
not
was a
asking
complaint
anyone
from,
out, just you.
But wouldn't
Yeah.
it take the guys coming out and saying, I like this girl, but I'm not asking? Like, how are they figuring that out?
It'd be a good question
Because
can,
it makes
see.
sense that if you're a girl and you're like, well,
She says,
in
I
church-
think the main thing I hear is girls want guys to be straightforward, bold, and ask them out. But I feel like guys would also like girls to initiate more as well, which I think it's guys' job anyway. And then I gave my opinion on it. And she goes, I agree. It's kind of funny because I read a book where a whole chapter was called Where is the Testosterone? And I think it must have been a Christian book. I should ask her specifically. But I think it's a common.
testosterone was sucked out
You
by
got
the
too many
succubuses.
women at church running church.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it, dude.
I pointed
That's-
that out
that's the
in
way it
in
is.
the because the demographics.
They're all afraid of men being men and boys being boys and climbing trees and getting hurt and getting in fights. And it's like, that's part of growing up. You try to curb that stuff, turn them into chicks. And this is what we got in the church
Yep.
so often. It's
Or
all this
priests
like
banging little boys.
PT. It's all, and it's like, let them be boys.
I raised that kind of awkward conversation because the gender dynamics at that conference was 90% women, and so they were kind of asking some questions around it, and I was like, in my view, the modern church is aimed at attracting women, and it
You're
was
talking about the Western church.
Yeah.
though. We got to be careful with
Yeah.
that.
The
because
modern- like
Western
modern
church,
day-
Western contemporary.
it's like a
church.
franchise church almost.
Yeah.
They're all the same cookie cutter thing. They're aimed at attracting
Same
women.
Christianese spoken.
Well, dude,
And
look at all
they-
the suburbs
most of the
people
girls
wanna
agreed
move
with
into.
it.
All of them
Of
are.
course,
the
they're probably
same
sick of
looking
it.
house.
Like now that they dominated it, there's just like there's no men here.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, what do you think was gonna happen?
Same
Yeah.
thing.
You injected all your estrogen into this
Yeah.
thing, and they made it all acceptable for now. There's no guys.
Well,
What
it's
do you
not-
think was gonna
It's
happen?
not dangerous. You know what I mean? The excitement that they want from a guy is what comes along with masculinity is us taking risks, going into the unknown, and shaking their lives up. I know that for a fact. 9 times out of 10, when a woman doesn't want to do something, the truth is she just doesn't know what she wants. So she's going to stick to something that feels safe, and that's a no. If you're a good man that trying to shake a woman up, you'll find a way to get her to say yes, and then she'll discover something fresh with you. And she'd be like, well, I never would have done that with anyone else. And then boom, that's what
Yeah.
happens. So, like, I think about the church these days, and, like, look at what happens when you get people that they're all in a herd. They want to be the same. All the subdivision houses look the same. All the they just want to be safe and in a pack, you know? And a real man is going to be something scarier than that. And so, like, there are real Christian men, but you can guarantee most of them are not hanging out in your local church. You know,
Yeah.
but they're still there.
And that's
I've been
what I
thinking
started.
about
So-
going to the local church just to find a girl.
You probably would have luck
Like
with that if
going
you're
out
like
on the
a-
Sundays and stuff because I don't go to church. This
Yeah.
is church for me. I got fed up with the real churches.
You know, when I did
Or
that in
the-
California,
They were-
or what these churches are
But
called.
they were
churches.
asking me, and I was.
I don't
They
do
were
it.
asking me what needs to change to attract men, and I honestly don't know that answer.
to attract
specifically.
men.
Yeah,
You
to
have
the
to be sexy and hot.
No,
and-
no. To the
Lord
church.
first.
to the
See,
church.
The question they really sounds like they're asking is, how do we make the men that are here confident? That sounds like
You
the
have to
question
stop
they're
cutting
really
their nuts
asking.
off
Yeah.
from childhood.
That's right. So that's
Well, I think the
that
volume
sounds
of
like what they're really
I
trying
think
to
the
ask.
volume of men is like I was looking
They
at
try
the
to
numbers.
control everything in the
because
churches. Have you been working?
they-
the women run those things.
They're claiming like 70-80% are women in the church. And okay, if that's true, let's go look at the numbers on what are Americans claiming for religion. And women claim to be Christian more than men, but it's not like that drastic of a difference. So it's like that means there's a lot of Christian men that just aren't going to church.
Because they're working and they have other stuff they want to do.
So then, yeah. So, but then it's
But
also
going
like the
back
church
to
is
your
not
question,
attractive.
right? So she's saying
It
there are
isn't
men
attractive
here.
for men. I don't
No.
think it is. There's not
And
much
they're
for a man
asking-
to do there.
right,
What's
and
a
they're
man going to do
asking-
at a church?
What would make it more
Do
attractive?
a lot of cool
They don't have
stuff.
a gym there. They don't have like, a cool cryotherapy place or like a cold plunge or like
But
they don't have like fun stuff for dudes to do there.
Well, I mean, that's not what church is about.
Why
that's
shouldn't it
what
be?
fellowship? Because okay, look, this is the Bible calls us to fellowship, and that's important. And that's kind of like a broad space you can fill with whatever content you want.
That's
you
what I
can go
mean. Men like to
fellowshipping at
fellowship
the-
differently than women
That's
do.
absolutely
Women like
right.
to huddle in
But what
groups and
is
talk about
church?
each other's lives.
so,
Men
like-
don't necessarily like to do those things.
So what do you have with church, right?
All the time.
This is a big question because you read the Acts, you read what people have been trying to assemble this. Basically, it's the nucleus. It's where we come together to offer our gifts. So there's a bit of fellowship, there's a bit of study, there's a bit of all this stuff. But really, it's like the way we want it. That's why there's so many different churches out there. It's like, this is our little way, our tribalism, for lack of a better term to describe people. The everybody has a unique offering they want to make, right? Sometimes. And it's like, when I look at the church, what would make it more masculine? Like guys rolling up in Harleys or whatever the sort of whatever you think men really like. No, it's not those things. Really what it is it's men being able to connect with each other.
Allowing men to be men
Right.
would be great to start off
Men need
with.
to be able to connect, though, in order for that to happen.
Well, they'll just say
I don't
you're
see
supposed
them
to
It
join
starts
in
with
that.
Sunday school. It starts with, like, simple things. Like, for instance, my dad did this. It was called the Royal Rangers, and it was basically a Boy Scouts for the church. They go out and do stuff in nature and catch frogs and gators and go camping and do like 3 days with like a buck knife and a piece of
Kinda like
flint.
Cub Scouts,
Mhm.
Boy Scout
Exactly.
stuff.
And they did not want them to do half of these activities because they were dangerous. These women ended up getting involved when someone gets hurt. Like, we can't do this anymore. And they had to shut it down.
Yeah.
And they ended up having to get this other guy that just was doing like a dumbed down Sunday school for these kids. It's like, here, watch this. Do it. And it's like, that's how it happens.
what happened to
That's
David's
exactly
mighty
how you
men.
demasculinize a church.
What
right
did
there.
David's mighty men do? Can you read that part in Judges and Samuel? These are some badass dudes, man.
They're warriors.
They're warriors. They're totally cool. That's why people can sing songs about them. But, when men so what's the process? Men get together. They start sharing what they see as needs. Men are problem solvers. So eventually they're going to start saying, here's the problems that we see. And they can connect, and then they work together to fix the problem. That's what we're made to do.
That
So
with the
if we're-
high sugar diet that half these men have to eat, and the absolute like non-stop abuse they have to put up with from like half the women that live around them, they just get
Their
ground
balls
to
are
dust,
atrophied
bro.
by the time they're
ground
40
to
years
dust.
old.
40
Yeah.
hours a week, 2 kids, a wife that's calling the shots. I mean, what do you want from these guys in a horrible diet? It's like,
Well, like, okay, so that woman wants
I don't know if there's any
she
testosterone
wants guys to be
possibly
confident
made in
enough
those
to
balls.
go approach women in the church, right? That's what they're desiring. So how do you get that? And this is what we're talking about.
Well,
now.
they'll
It's
claim
like-
too it's also lack of just volume of men in the church, because I think they'll say, I'm guessing guys approach them, they're just not attractive to them.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
because
Yeah.
they're
They're
that
counting
word?
those as zeros.
Because there's a lot
The
of
bell curve.
No,
There's-
hypergamy.
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 Yeah.
Girls just think they're way hotter than they are nowadays. It's like even on the dating apps. It's like,
Oh my god.
you'll see Mike and I were talking about this coming back up from Miami, and it's like there are these girls that get so much attention on the dating apps from beta simps, and they think they're gorgeous when they're not, and it's like they really think that they deserve like a six-figure
the
chiseled Greek god.
No,
when
no
it's
way.
like, nah,
the most rare thing to find is a
you don't
beautiful
even work
woman
out.
that is aware of her beauty, but is not stifled by it in her growth. Like, she's complete. She
That's,
doesn't
I
use
think
it.
that doesn't exist.
Oh, it does. It does.
Yeah, I think that
well,
doesn't exist.
Let me tell you why I know. I have one myself. I'm very lucky to have found her, but I know this for a fact. Women who desire truth, true Christian women, they're going to know that beauty is fleeting.
Yeah.
So even the most beautiful woman will come a day where she's really, and this happens all the time. They get jealous of the older aging gals, get jealous of the young ones because they're the fresh crop, man. They
Does it
look best.
exist
but-
holistically from like, okay, I could see this girl existing at like 26, 27, 28. At 22?
Oh, at 22?
Probably not.
I don't know if there's too many guys. I mean, that goes for both sexes. 22, my brain was not connected. When 27 started like making sense. But no, I was a creature of impulse and then try and pick up the pieces after you're done learning. But anyway,
I
yeah.
don't think there's anything fun for dudes to do at church. Like, you know what I mean? The only when I went to church most consistent is when I was playing in the youth group band and playing drums. John was playing guitar, and it was something we did. And we were out playing guitar Wednesday morning at school, and then we would go out and do like evangelizing by the movie theater, and we were doing things like that. That's what made it fun. But if it was just like the normal kind of like Sunday school and then the service and then all the worship, that stuff never.
Here's the thing that sucks, dude. It's like, okay,
sometimes a message would, but ultimately, like, you wouldn't find me there in the worship
women are
service.
like homekeepers, right? They're good at making sure, and I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing. Let me clarify that. It's beautiful that they're homekeepers. They keep it fresh, linens, keep things cozy and nice. Men go out and find the battle. You know, so that's what you're kind of describing. Like we had,
they need to be something for them to do.
Well, there's a spiritual war.
There's not really a place for men in the church today. There's not a whole lot of doing for them to do.
Well, there's no spiritual war. It's like, let's come here and be cozy and try and live better lives. But the better lives, do we really extrapolate on that? Do we look at that with a microscope? No one wants to be uncomfortable. You know, what if the pews were all made out of steel and rusted and like, you know, like this kind of sucks coming here. So what are we actually going to do?
Yeah.
You know, where's our focus? You know, and that's where I think it's like Joe said, you got a bunch of these guys, God bless them. They're not thinking about their bodies. There's like such a misunderstanding between them being like confident and not being prideful, being confident in God and what he's given us and not being like a prideful, conceited person. I see that happen all the time with young men. They're like, well, I don't want to be prideful. It's like, it's not being prideful. It's being responsible with what you've been given. You should be responsible with your body and try and look your best. It's not to say that you put that above value and start valuing everybody that way. You're doing that for yourself.
I don't know, you got nerds, you know, like, and like there's so many different types of men. It's like, I think they just need to find groups and people that they get along with in fellowship and just hang out.
Well,
and
it's
do
like
those
Iron
things,
Disciples, our culture is fitness.
Yep.
You know, because we really enjoy that.
The other complaint I hear, and my dad and I talk about this a lot, is the women will complain that their husbands are not spiritual leaders for them in the church.
I hear that all the time.
And so it's like, what is this foundation of that problem? Is it because they don't have any interest in the church? Is it because they're not allowed to be the leader that they're called to be? Is it because they don't have the confidence to be the leader that
I think those two are intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not allowed to, then they're never going to know how. They never experience what that
Or
is.
are these women marrying men that they're just kind of dragging along to church and they were never legit Christians in the first place?
Oh my God, dude, I saw this.
Probably that too going on.
I saw this thumbnail. Forgot, he's just this black dude on TV. He does like game shows, stuff like that.
Steve
And
Harvey?
maybe. It's mustache, bald. Is that him?
Yeah.
Okay, that guy. And this woman, she's like a young woman, probably like mid-20s, stands up. She asks him, should I marry an ugly man? And he like totally gives way to it.
Was she hot or not?
She was attractive, but not like in a way that, no, she was all right.
Okay.
Nothing like movie star material or anything.
Hot
but
or not?
the thing is,
Not.
he caved hardcore. And he's like, basically said what most women experience, because the outgoing guy, the wolf, he's like burning shit down wherever he goes. And the guy who's not a wolf, he's watching this and he's like, okay, you know, how am I going to, he's not making moves like the way that the wolf is. And this woman had been burned by the wolf tons of times. So Steve's like, no, yeah, go for a bitch, basically. He's going to know how to love you because no one ever pays attention to him. He's never been told he's handsome. He's never been any of these things. Basically, he has no confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really weird to see him, and everybody's clapping like, yeah, go find yourself a guy that's got no personality that just wants to please you. And it's like,
Sounds
let's
great.
talk about the middle ground here. Are there guys? Yes, there's ugly guys who are just as shitty as the wolves. But there's also guys who are handsome, that know what they're doing, that have careers, that are good guys.
Same with the
So-
girls, dude.
But it's just about,
I don't know where they are. But
that's right, you know. But that's
There's
cracking the
somewhere.
code, right? Where are they? Well, they're here in this town. We know that. We know that they're in the world. But connecting with them is the struggle, man. But people don't. Those men and those women who know their value.
Well,
they're struggling to connect, and it's easy to get turned
That's
off.
the
and not want
reality
to, you
of
know?
a lot of church
That's
men.
true.
Though. They
That's
are
true.
very.
That's why we have this red pill thing going, and people are fed up and they're sick and tired and they're ready to fucking close the book on like these women don't exist. All the guys are shit. All
Yeah,
of
you
these
get
girls are
these
shit, and there's no options because like
Mhm.
there's so much shit. You
It's a
know,
dumpster fire.
it's like a freaking
Mhm.
it's a trash heap. So I mean, and it's not gonna make that what I just is that looking at things that way isn't gonna make things better either. It's just
No, you
gonna
gotta
make
find
things
solutions.
worse because then you're just gonna get more depraved. The guys are gonna go bang more chicks
Because
and,
what you've done
and
is you say
care
there's no
less, and the
solution.
girls are gonna become
Right.
more like dudes.
It's dating nihilism.
It is a lot.
That's
There's
what it is.
the quote black pill concept where those guys have. I think they have a MGTOW. It's MG. Men go their own way is the acronym.
Hmm.
And there's a pretty large group of men that are just like,
Have
yeah,
you read the
checked
YouTube
out.
comments? They're all like, "I'm done, dude. I'm the king, dude, and like I just work for me now, and like I'm so much better off. I don't need a woman. If a woman's gonna be here, she's gonna be here. It's like 100% supporting me." And I'm like, some of that's good, but some of it, the woman should be challenging you.
Yeah.
Like a
You're
proper
hearing-
relationship, you
yeah.
should have like like Jordan says, Jordan Peterson says, like a sparring partner.
Yeah,
That's right.
You know, somebody whose intellect is like up there with you, not just someone who's like what I see a lot now, and why guys don't want that are just belligerent women that know they've been used to getting their way from being a kid all the way up through whining and like throwing fits and just like this intimidation that women are so good at. It's like but it's not like a man's intimidation. I'm gonna kick your ass. It's more like I'm just gonna rub you in the same spot
yeah.
for
Well, if you look
4
at this-
years until like I'm through your entire body.
gnarly,
You know,
yeah.
it's like water against rocks. It's like
I feel like it's
death by
always
1,000 cuts.
yeah,
when you listen to like relationship issues, it's always the guy isn't measuring up to the woman's expectations. It's like that's how like the society is built. Men are never measuring up. And like when is it ever flipped? Like no one holds women accountable really.
because guys are just like, I'll bang you and leave you, so there's no need for that.
Well,
They're
and like
just
80% of
"See
breakups
you
are
later."
initiated by the women, so that's why guys are always trying to measure up to keep the breakup from not happening. And then I've heard numerous of those recently, and
Well, the
Mm.
bottom line is this too, and it's something we gotta all appreciate. Okay, is everybody
Women are in
wants
the
the
power
tens.
position, bro.
Everybody wants a dime, and guess what? They're gonna probably eat you up and spit you out. Gotta be okay with dating a woman in your league most of the time, and I think a
the
lot
women
of guys,
need to be okay with dating a guy in there.
I'm
guys
saying it goes
can't get
both
anywhere
ways. I'm
because
not
I
saying
think
it's-
the guys are like, we're like, yeah, nah, she's a
the-
good woman.
I'd say 9 times out of
I'd rather
10,
have a good, strong woman than a hot, weak one. Any day of the week. Any day of the week, man.
well, it's a more sound investment. Okay, so if you have a woman that's
Who wants
beautiful,
a whiny, weak, hot chick that, you know, what is that going to
it's
do?
fun for a while, but let me
Not
tell you,
fun. She
my
probably
buddy-
isn't good in bed either.
well, that's what my buddy said. Luke, he's like, it was a really crass kind of joke, but it's like, show me a hot girl, I'll show you 3 guys who are just tired of fucking her, and it's true.
100%
You know,
truth.
But what I'm trying to get at here is, I think a lot of times in the beginning, because we're talking about the dating age, right?
mm-hmm.
And for Christians, it's usually a little later too, so they don't have the experience with what's in their league or what's not. And frequently they get torn up with experiences of going outside their league. That happens, and I agree with you, Joe. Like, seriously, most of the women who think they're 5s are actually 3s and 7s.
I
are
kind of
actually
doubt
5s.
guys can get outside
know?
their league much today just because of
Mm-mm.
how the apps work.
Not unless they're like,
Because they're like girls, the stats on Tinder, girls are swiping right like 4.5%.
Dude,
4.5% of the time.
guys are so
And guys are like
hungry,
swiping
they're
right
just
60%.
oh, she's got a pair. Let's go.
And
I
then-
don't care. You know?
they were saying, apparently they view on the apps, girls think 80% of guys are below average. Like,
well, what the hell does that tell you?
yeah, well,
Okay,
it
so
also
they're
tells
having
Delusions
about they're not 8s, they're not
Yeah.
10s, but they're picking as if they were.
Just imagine going to the grocery
But I'm
store.
gonna be honest,
paying
every kid-
$100 for like
Did you know any
pack
of your
of
young
eggs.
friends who had a crush on Julia? What's her name? She's like that actress.
Roberts?
Yeah, none. She's not that pretty, but she has like, I don't know. She's
got the status.
effervescence, right? She's a great actress. Meryl Streep, not really. We liked Angelina Jolie. Like, I don't know if there's many guys my age at school that didn't like her. you know, and so we're all focused on that kind of a beauty. But like Joe had said, I think it's important we ask ourselves what we want out of a relationship. You don't want a trophy wife if that's what she thinks she is. You want a woman that's going to, like Jordan Peters, spar with you, make you a better person. Your investment is spiritual investment. The other investments, they give you nothing in the short term, and especially nothing in the long term.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should do a podcast about the dating apps.
Yeah, we gotta save this conversation.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is
man.
good
Go
though.
on
We
for
have
a
a lot
while.
of stuff, and I think this
Right.
is a great first one, and kind of
Yeah.
like moving from subject to subject, how we're able to do that.
And we can
it's great.
We
It's
can
great.
clip stuff too if we want.
Yeah,
you know.
that's why I said we should
That'll
just
take
let it
a
run
lot of
on
time.
today. I didn't
Yeah.
stop it. We have some stuff. No, that's something that could be done because if the juices are flowing, you should be able to kind of allow that because you get like a 5,
or you
10
just
second,
timestamp
30-second clips or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and that'd be a good idea to have like maybe a little piece of paper, your note. You can write a quick timestamp down, make the
Yeah.
rooting through it a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's true.
You know,
It'd be easy to just slide through then chop.
there's nothing to really go off of. Like it's us sitting in this room.
John means it's like you actually have a timer going, then you write
Oh.
in 5 minutes.
Like, say
that
we
was
have
like
a clock right
nice
here.
time.
Something like that. When you feel there's something that you want to make a clip of, you write down the time.
Ballpark time.
You know,
we
like
can get
around
kind of closer. for
35 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever.
editing. Right.
Which would be great because rooting through that takes a long time.
All right. First Iron Disciples podcast. This is February 21st, 2022. Signing off,
Let's
guys.
Wrap it up.
Do
Signing
a
off.
prayer real quick.
Yeah,
That's what we do. We end with a prayer.
Yeah.
Holding hands.
that's right.
True men.
That's what men do.
No masks. Fuck COVID.
Did
That's the D.
anybody else want to? I opened up. Do one of you guys want to close?
I got it. Lord, thanks so much for this opportunity to just have a good discussion amongst Christian men. While we might be a little crass and a little bit out there sometimes, in the end we're truly seeking you and hoping we can help other men seek you and grow the relationship with you as well.
Mhm.
Thanks so much for this time today. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Love you guys.